Hey VC, welcome to the Personal Oasis. This is the Blind Island, and today we are going to be reviewing an album. Now, take into account, this is purely my opinion, and if you have a different one, feel free to leave it in the comments below, and let's have a discussion about it. Now, on to the review. Today we're going to be discussing an album from a genre that I don't feel gets a lot of love from the VC in general, and that would be traditional country. Now, I'm very new to the VC, so if there is some channels that have a lot of love for this type of genre, please let me know in the comments. I'd love to follow them. I'd love to hear their thoughts about these artists. And I'm not saying that there isn't good contemporary country as well, but I would have to say that I'm a sucker for those traditional honky-tonk records that came out in the 50s. And this album came out in the very beginning of the 1960s. It was the last gasp of honky-tonk country, and that would be Ray Price's Nightlife.
No good life, but it's my life.
Ray Price was actually a member of Hank Williams' Drifting Cowboys backing band. He was discovered by Williams in a honky-tonk and loved the sound of his baritone voice and how well he played the bass. So he recruited him to be the leader of his backing band. After some time on the circuit with Hank Williams, he went out and became a solo artist in his own right, with having some big hits in the 60s. This, to me, is his crowning achievement right here. I also know that Willie Nelson actually was a part of his backing band, and the title track for Nightlife was written by Willie Nelson. He calls him a young boy from down Texas way, even though he was 30 years old at the time. This album was also made right at the tail end of the honky-tonk country traditionalism, the one that had been molded and melded within bars and dirty nightclubs. Basically, this was dancing music. But as country was starting to lose traction in the public light due to rock and roll and pop music, and also with the British invasion just around the corner, country had to re-centralize all of its focus into a new sound, and that would be known as the Nashville sound, where there would be big, giant, lush orchestras behind the singers, and just a very crisp production value. Now, I have a certain place in my heart for certain Nashville sound records, but nothing will ever beat this honky-tonk sound to me.
No good life, but it's my life.
I love this album. This is one of the very first concept albums brought into country. Much like Frank Sinatra did with In the Wee Small Hours, Ray Price takes a collection of songs here that are all about down and out losers who are hanging out at bars way too late at night, drinking their sorrows away. This is I'm going to cry into my beer glass type of music. It's phenomenal, fantastic. The backing band is slight, with the drums having a nice light snare on it, using brushes just to be in the background. The steel pedal guitar is fantastic. The song selection on here is impeccable. It plays perfectly from beginning to end. There isn't a weak note within this album, and Ray Price's vocal delivery totally inhabits the world of down and out losers, people living the nightlife. I love the introduction that he has to this record, where he's basically explaining what you're in for this evening and how it's going to be a little different from what people are used to hearing. I love it. I think that it is a gem of traditional country.
Good life, but it's my life.
Now, as far as album highlights are concerned, I would say there are 3 tracks that really stand out to me. I love the song Pride, which to me really encapsulates that whole idea of I know that you're doing me wrong, but I can't walk away mentality. He basically is singing throughout the song that his pride is telling him to go, but his heart, as stupid as it is, wants to stay because he loves her so much. I love that song. It just is perfect old style country. Nightlife is just a classic of country. The title track is wonderful. I believe that there are very few country artists who haven't covered it, and it completely just surrounds itself in the feeling of the nightlife. Very few songs are able to do that, and I believe that this does it successfully. I also really love A Girl in the Night. It's just, again, one of those lamentable songs about someone going down the wrong track in life. That's what this whole record is all about. But those three songs right there really capture what this album is all about.
Good life, but it's my life.
My final thoughts on this record is that it's a classic. It's a masterpiece of country music, and that should be in anybody's collection who loves traditional country. I think that it's something that is probably overlooked by some other artists, which is a real shame, because Ray Price did go down the Nashville sound track, and it was not that pleasant or pretty, even though his voice always continued to sound great. But this record definitely transcends any of that, and I would have to give this one a 5 out of 5. So that was my review on Ray Price's Nightlife, but what did you guys think? Is there something that I missed? Is there more within Ray Price's discography that should really be highlighted? Let me know in the comments below, and I hope that you guys have a great day on your own personal oasis. Cheers.